seemed to me like they were not as aggressive as they were against the Bengals. You know, the receivers had a little bit more cushion, it seemed like, for the Patriots, which was kind of a head scratcher because I think the Bengals receivers and offense are more explosive. You know, they're a little quicker, a little bit more of deep threats. But again, that's just my perception. When you look at the style of defense, it looked to be a little bit different.
Yeah, I agree. And I think like when the Browns are at their best, that's a team that plays downhill, they play fast, and they play aggressive. And we really didn't see any of that on Sunday. They barely blitzed, and the times they did, New England picked it up. And there's been times, not just against the Patriots, but throughout the season where they're playing 7, 8, or 9 yards off the line of scrimmage. And I don't know why you would do that against the Bengals, who have one of the best receiver corps in the NFL, and then not do it against the Patriots, whose receivers aren't as good, and you're going up against a rookie quarterback who, when you play a guy like that, you want to try and speed the clock up. You want to get him off schedule, and nothing on Sunday got him off schedule, whether it was the blitzes weren't in the right spot, you didn't send enough of them, and you didn't change up the coverage. And you got to do something to muddy up the picture, because if you're just throwing base out there, hoping your guys will out-talent somebody, this isn't college where it's Ohio State playing Akron. You can't just out-talent somebody in the NFL on a weekly basis. And sometimes, some point, scheme adjustments have to kind of come into play. And it seemed like that's where some of the frustration was from Myles Garrett after the game.
The Browns' defense, I don't think anybody can argue, they have been inconsistent. How big of a concern is it for you that they haven't really been able to put 2 or 3 games together where they go out and dominate on the defensive side of the football?
I think it's massive. And I know we saw the defensive struggles in the beginning of the season where it's okay to be like, okay, you know, they're figuring things out. They're learning how to play each other. This is the 10th game of the season. These guys know each other by now. This is the time when you're supposed to start to be cranking things up. This is November when the playoffs are in sight. You know, you're in the second half of the season, and then you turn around and have arguably the worst game of the season. This defense right now, for as good as they are getting to the quarterback, they don't affect them as much as they should. They're not generating enough turnovers. They're not getting out the field on third downs. I think it was only one time the entire game on Sunday where they got off on third down. You cannot win an NFL game doing that against anybody, whether it's the Patriots or the Lions or the Ravens or anybody. That's been a problem all season. The best defenses are the ones that take the ball away and get off the field, and the Browns just have not consistently been able to do that. And when you don't do that, you get games like the one we saw yesterday more often than not. And 10 games in, that's a huge concern. And something has to change. I don't know what it is, whether it's just a change in the philosophy where you get more aggressive or what, I don't know. But it's like I said right when I came in, it's the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result from the first time around.